All right, how you guys doing? I haven't streamed in a couple weeks, just holidays and all that sort of thing. But I wanted to hang out today and talk about, you know, all the great movies that are coming out. Obviously, War of the Rohirrim is an absolute piece of shit. Kraven the Hunter. My understanding is the reviews were so bad that Rotten Tomatoes pulled the view number down. I don't know if that's actually true or if that was just an error because they've had all kinds of stuff get really bad reviews for that they didn't pull down, which is, not unusual. I mean, a bunch of shit comes out, so a bunch of shit gets bad reviews. To me, it's no big deal, but it's weird that Kraven the Hunter would be the hill to die on for your website's reputation. Because that movie was crazy bad. I don't think I've ever seen a movie before in English where the lips didn't match the words like on a regular basis. I know it happens because they do ADR, which is when you add the audio back in, once you're done filming. But I've never seen it to the point that it looked like a dub. Even my wife, as soon as the movie started, was like, he's not speaking in Russian. His lips don't match the words. And I guess I'm dumb because I was too busy reading subtitles. So I couldn't keep up with both. But she caught onto it right away, and she's a normie, obviously. So, yeah. And it's a shame because the action was actually like they tried, which is more than most stuff can say, right? Most stuff they're just like, let's just throw a million cuts in, call it a day, and kind of fuck it. But they did some interesting stuff and some things where they clearly tried to be unique. So it was a weirdly mixed bag. Aaron Taylor Johnston, I don't know what his fucking deal is because I feel like he's a decent actor. I mean, my understanding is that he got kind of groomed and that his wife is like 20 years older than him and they met when he was in his teens. But aside from that, I don't particularly care. But it just feels like every movie he's in is just shit. So, yeah, it's whatever. I don't really have much to say because the movie was just so out there. It was like very 90s with how it was bad, where it was just like so crazy that you can't be mad at it. You're just like, huh, well, it's on film, I guess. And there's a couple of jokes that you might laugh at, and you forget about it. You just go on your way. So it was a weird theater experience for me because I went and saw War of the Rohirrim, and then I went and saw Kraven right after. And man, what a long night at the movies, and not in a good way. And I've heard the Tolkien people are just like going crazy because apparently, and I'm not going to pretend to have read all the appendices and whatever else. I've only read the original trilogy and obviously watched the movies. I've never even read The Hobbit. So, yeah, kind of is what it is. But It's it sounds like they took some character who is literally mentioned one time and then made her the main character and then altered everyone else's stories around her, and the story they told was dog shit. So that part I can contest to, or I can vouch for. The story they told was bad, made no fucking sense. In my video, I called it a self-insert. It was, I thought, trash. I was surprised that the animation was so shit. Like, when you have a movie, like an animated movie, you expect to be quality. I mean, like the animation, other than being notably good looking, shouldn't even be a feature, ideally. So yeah, it was disappointing in that regard. Sorry about that. And it was just kind of like one of those things where you're sitting there and you're just confused because you're like, I don't understand why this is like happening right now. Like, you made this villain a fucking loser. You made the main character a complete asshole. You created a plot thing which doesn't really make any sense with this giant tower that you want to collapse onto a fort. Like, that's your fucking plan. And they refer to it as stone and impregnable and all this shit. And then, first of all, if it was stone, it would collapse. And second of all, it gets caught on fire at the end. So, in both ways, it's just factually incorrect in the movie. I just don't get it. And like $30 million or whatever the budget was is not massive. But, I mean, if the writers are getting a couple $100,000, presumably, I'm guessing, you know, you would think they would put together something functional. Doesn't have to be airtight, doesn't have to be perfect, but you would think it would be at least be like decent and, you know, mildly interesting or compelling. And they just kind of circumvent all that, and they're like, huh, well, if I wanted to be a hero in this era, how would I feel about myself? And that's kind of what it felt like. Like, they just didn't give a shit. They wanted to be Eowyn or Arwen or whoever. And they also wanted to be, you know, the queen. Because obviously, not only can your queen have the, you know, the characteristics of being politically savvy or generally intelligent, she has to be the boss. She has to be the best sword fighter. She has to be the best horse rider. She's the one who figures out the traitors. It was just absurd. Hey, what's up, Jay? Jay says functional in 2024. Exactly. I mean, it's so masturbatory that it's kind of unbelievable to me. It just, I'll be honest, my bar for the movie wasn't high. I just kind of expected like a middling fantasy tale. You know, they kill the orcs or the bad guys, they win the day. We get some music, whatever. They went fucking balls out. I heard the horn of Rohan, like, it must have been 20 times. I actually went, like, leaned over to my wife in the theater and was like, how many fucking communications does that horn have? And I know you can do Morse code and you can do the number of, you know, blows and blah, blah, blah. But I was just like, they're using the horn for everything. Like, they're essentially being like, oh my God, please remember this sound from Helm's Deep. and like our movie, is what it felt like. So yeah, not a great theater experience. As soon as we walked out, my wife was like, "Well, that sucked," and she loves Lord of the Rings. She actually had it on, I think Max, is it, the other night with the extended editions, and she had Two Towers on. Like, she's probably more of a nerd in that, at least in that sphere, than I am. But man, I was like, this is bad. As soon as they left the castle to go fight in the open fields and get trapped, I was like, okay. So like, you all just deserve to die then, is what we're doing. Like, there's nothing here that's interesting. Oh shit. Jay, I was looking at your chat and almost driven to the lava. The old Horn of Rohan with the wife, eh? Yeah, I wish. If she could make my horn sound like that, we'd been married a few years earlier. Or maybe divorced, I don't know. But man, it's just such a bummer, and she does this really cringe speech at the end where she's like, it's no longer called the Hornburg. They've named it after the man who's deserving of the title, Helm's Deep. And it does like the music, and like, you can tell that they were like, oh man, people are going to be jacking off and clapping in the theater at this one. And I was just like, fuck you. Like, please end, you piece of shit movie. I was just miserable. Because for the first part, it's interesting. Like, you're like, okay, like, there's politics in Rohan, there's politics at Gondor. And then it's just like, that could be interesting. But have you thought that a queen would have solved everything? And that's kind of what they do. And I was asking my wife in the theater, and I'm curious what people think, like, who watched this later on. I thought they were trying to hint that she was a lesbian because she said, I'm trying to think of the exact wording that she used. I think it was, I have no desire to marry any man, I believe, is the way that it was worded. And as soon as she said that, I was like, huh. 10 years ago, I'd be like, okay, like, she just wants to live her life. But now I'm like, well, is she a lesbian? Like, that kind of seems like the implication to me. So even there, and again, I'm not a Tolkien fucking expert, but my understanding is that he's very Christian or Catholic, maybe. And the values shown in Lord of the Rings promote that to a high degree. Hey, what's up, Tyler? Oh, from the Bahamas, nice. I guess your Dexter's opera is going pretty well, huh? If you're in the Bahamas, you fucking bastard. You're definitely not having a white Christmas with the weather or the women. Oh shit. Oh my god. Jay said no man is getting Helm's Deep in her. You guys fucking woke up on one, huh? Jay, you had to tell me what you think if you ever watch it, because I'm sure you'll watch it when it comes out on Max or whatever the Japanese equivalent is. Uwu, whatever the fuck. Where they build this tower for, like, well, I don't know. The movie kind of makes it seem like it could just be days, but I thought it was supposed to be months. And it's probably 300 feet tall. And they just cut the ropes and tip it over, and it just falls down onto Helm's Deep, and they run across it. And then one fire arrow sets the whole thing on fire. And I'm like, you guys watched them build this while your people were supposed to be starving. They ignored that plot point, by the way. And no one just ran out and set it on fire. like run out with one guy or two guys with bows and arrows on fire. I just the whole movie's just fucking dumb. And they made Hera, because obviously Tolkien loved the Greeks. That's why he was so Christian. They made her just such like a, I don't want to say Mary Sue because that term gets thrown around a lot, but she was just great at everything. And they made numerous points for people to be like, oh, I am the idiot, you are the best, and just kiss her ass. And it's like, are we just cringe or what? Because, normally, and this is like back in the day, obviously, when I say normally, if you have a guy who's the guy, like he's the one in charge, he's the leader. Oh, shit. Oh. You usually have some pushback, right? You have some people who want to challenge his authority, which she never has any, so that's kind of not really fair to level that criticism. But you definitely have people who are like, no, like I just don't trust you, or I think I could do it better. You never have, but even like when they acknowledge, like, okay, like you're the best guy for the job, what's the most you get? Like a head nod, or like okay, I'll do it, and it's implied. They're never like, oh, why don't you pull your pants down so I can suck your cock, and just tell you how great you are. And it just feels like all these fucking movies now with these kind of girl boss, whatever you want to call them, characters. Like every time they have to make a point to just be explicitly saying, you are the best. Like, you're the best. Everyone should listen to you. You're fucking great. And to me, and I'm going to go ahead and be a super misandrist right now. Sorry, misogynist. Misandrist is women. A misogynist, and just say, that reeks to me of women in the writing room being like, oh, well, this is how my feelings are affirmed. Like, why wouldn't you just tell someone that they're really good? That's how it feels. And it's, as far as writing goes, absolute dog shit. Oh, Jay said, brother, I'd sooner rather watch The Hobbit and Return of the King anime from my childhood than this rights placeholder garbage. And that's a good point too, Jay. And I've heard that from a lot of people, that this was just purely so they can maintain their rights and they don't have to worry about, is it Warner Brothers? No. I can't keep track of all these fucking companies. Whoever the other one is, Amazon, I think. Like moving in and buying all the rights. So Warner Brothers / HBO threw this shit out there just to keep the rights. If you guys are interested, which I'm sure you're not, I'm playing the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. But this is the first time I play with mods. And it's so much better looking. And then there's like little interesting dialogues. There's more just kind of random NPCs and stuff. Really neat. And I wish I wasn't such a boomer that I had never done it before. Because that's been the main reason why I haven't. Oh, Tyler asked me how it compares to Rings of Power. I've actually never watched Rings of Power because, I'll be honest, as soon as I saw the Black Dwarf, not only did I get triggered as a racist, I got triggered as like you guys are not prioritizing the story. So I have no interest. And obviously when I say I got triggered as a racist, that's a joke. I hope you are all aware of that if you're listening to me, because you're probably a subscriber. But I don't know, like listening to those interviews where they were like, oh, it's so important to have black dwarves of color and blah blah blah. I was like, fuck you. Like that is not something I've ever thought about. It's not something I want to think about. It's not something I give a shit about. So I was turned off before I even turned the show on. And then every single person I've heard talk about it has been like, yeah, it's pretty bad. Or it's pretty cringe, or some variation of that statement. So, yeah, I had no fucking desire to watch that. I guess if you wanted to bully me, I haven't watched Hunter x Hunter yet. So you could make me watch it. Technically. Obviously, that'd be your prerogative. Oh, really? Tyler says that Rings of Power is one of the worst things he's ever seen. Yeah, I've only heard bad things. And since I was like, do I want to commit the time to watch 10 hours of dog shit just to make a video? Not really. I mean, if it was my world, I would love to only make videos about stuff that I liked. That's why I try to splice in like anime stuff, because then I'm like, okay, I can be positive about something. But it's just really hard to watch stuff knowing that it's dog shit, like knowing you're gonna hate it, and you have to be like go in and try to be objective. Because I do want to be fair. I don't like to shit on stuff like just to shit on it, you know. Tyler says no. I would never subject someone to that garbage. Or he said number one, I would never subject someone to that garbage. Number two, I would never waste a membership month that way. What's funny is I was considering this morning. I want to say it was Death by Goat. I wish I could remember his name off the top of my head, but he said he was like your subscriber count is suspicious. And I went and looked at it, and it's at 911, and I was laughing. Because I'll be honest, like, I don't ever check my subscriber count, because I don't ever want to become like motivated by that. I just want to make the stuff that I want to make. So, I it's hard to completely avoid it just because I have to respond to comments and stuff. But I just don't like the idea of being like, oh, well, this video got 2,000 views, so I should make 5 more. That's just not how I operate. Or at least not how I want to operate. I mean, maybe if I was doing it for a living, it'd be a little bit different. But yeah, I was laughing when I think it's Dead by a Goat, when he was telling me that I was at 9/11. And I told him there was a conspiracy afoot. Oh shit. But yeah, anyway, like Rings of Power, everything I've heard about it was either boring or bad. Oh, what's up, Alpha? Alpha Dragon Wolf Warrior. Is that from a game or what? Oh, it's no problem. He says that he's been dealing with some personal issues. Yeah, I get it, man. When I don't stream on Sundays, it's usually because I'm just like not in the mood. And I had one really bad stream where I actually had multiple people message me and be like, "Hey, is everything okay?" And I don't want to stream again like that when I'm just really not feeling like it. So I totally get it. And you guys don't have to spend your time with me anyway. So yeah, don't ever feel bad for that. But I hope you're doing better at least. I mean, you're here, so I assume that means things are picking up or your mood's a little bit better or whatever the case is. I mean, I don't want to start just throwing out advice for you, but if I was gonna, it would just be, try to eat the best you can. Don't drink, for sure. And if you can exercise, go do it. Because for me, and I don't know if my body's gotten more sensitive as I've gotten older, or maybe I'm just more perceptive to it. But I've noticed that if I drink, I have anxiety really bad. for like 2, 3, 4 days sometimes. Sometimes a week. I'll just wake up and be stressing about things that are completely irrelevant, like very high stress, very unlike me. Very demotivated, very sad. If I get off my diet, I feel bloated, instead of just fat. I feel like uncomfortable. Like I just can't get in the right mood. If I have caffeine too late, like if I have caffeine after 2, 3 o'clock, my sleep that night is fucked. I just toss and turn and wake up the whole night. So I don't want to give advice because that's not at all something I'm qualified for. But those are things I would just say from personal experience that might help you. I know a lot of people say like just go to therapy. I'll be honest, I've been to therapists. Not my fucking thing. All they do is tell you shit that you already know. And that's if you get a good one. If you get a bad one, I mean shit. They might fuck you up. Like they just oh, thank you, Jay. Jay says filthy gives good advice. That's all I'm saying is before you do anything else, you have to. Oh, this is gonna sound so fucking nerdy and like a sports coach. I'll go ahead and say it anyway. You have to control the controllables. Oh shit! I'm sorry, Alpha. Alpha's a girl apparently. How the fuck do I have so many girls watching me? I feel like all I do is like bullshit and sexist jokes. And by so many girls, I mean you and Shamrock. But Alpha says her username is just a combination of personal meaning to her. Well, that's nice. And she doesn't drink and plans to exercise. Well, there you go. I mean, that's a good start to me. And like I said, I'm not a fucking therapist. I'm not a psychologist. Although I appreciate the compliment, Jay, that I give good advice. And what I was going to say about being a dorky sports coach was the first thing that you should do to me, before you go to a therapist, before you go do whatever, is control the things that you can control. So that would be diet, that would be sleep, that would be exercise, and alcohol and drug consumption. Like if you can live a clean lifestyle and you're still having issues, to me, that's when you go say, okay, like this is beyond my hands. But it also depends on how serious. Like, I mean, if you're suicidal, fucking go talk to somebody. Or if your stress is causing you serious health issues, go talk to somebody. Like, there's obviously degrees to it. So that's something you have to decide for yourself. But for me, I've noticed immediately I'm so much more productive and clear-headed. I mean, I'll be honest. My big vice is drinking, and it's not like I need to or I have to. It's just kind of a comfort thing for me. Okay, well, Tyler says that he has a great therapist and he recommends it for anyone. Sometimes it's good to just talk it out with someone who isn't a friend, and that's true too. And that's why I said I'm not the expert here. So, you definitely have to figure out what works best for you. Of course, right after that, Jay says bad experiences with therapists, waste of money. Okay, so Alpha says that she's had bad times with therapists too, and just wants to try her best to deal with it. And and I don't want to be like too cynical because this is supposed to be like a media stream, but fuck it. Well, I talk about whatever I want, so I guess it doesn't matter. There is an element in life of how God damn it, this sniper's killing me. Sorry, that's not an element of life unless you're a United Healthcare CEO. That was a fucking political joke too. I'm breaching all my rules today. But there is an element of life of just you have to figure out what works. And I don't know how old you are. You don't have to tell me, obviously. But for me, a lot of my youth, well, some people would still call me young because they're nice, but a lot of what I've done in my life has been trying to figure out just what works, And that I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like, I'm 34 and I didn't figure out until I would say 33 that alcohol makes me anxious. So I know that if I drink, I have to expect anxiety for a few days. And then you also have like the identity element where you're kind of like, what's my purpose in life? Am I accomplishing enough? There's this whole pro-felicity thing. I see. Okay, so Alpha, I'll try to, I'll be vague. Well, the chat will be on the screen anyway, so sorry about that. But essentially, Alpha's saying that her panic attacks get worse from intrusive thoughts and over attention on her symptoms. Yeah, exactly. And that kind of hyper focus can make you locked in and really negative. And then she says she's had a lot happen where she just tries to gloss over it. I totally get that. And Tyler says not everyone should be a therapist. There are definitely some bad ones out there. And we're the same age. Well, I hope you're getting productive, Tyler. Because I'm hitting my midlife crisis, so. Oh, Alpha's 27. Okay, so yeah, when I was your age, yeah, I'm going to go full fucking boomer here. Even though it was only 7 years ago. Let me see. 27. So at 27, I was still in my first job. I was working for the government. At that point, I had applied for, I would say, at least 1,000 jobs. And my master's, if it is relevant, is in geophysics. I could not even get an interview. And I was super depressed. I'm not going to get too much into personal stuff just because I don't want to. But as far as like career stuff, I was like, oh, I'm fucking stuck at this job on night shift. I'm working Thursday to Monday night Thursday to Tuesday nights. I'm working 11 p.m. to fucking 8 a.m. Miserable experience. I can't get promoted. I was completely stuck. I felt like there was just nowhere for me to go career-wise. And I was like, I'm going to be like in this shitty ass job for the rest of my life. I won't say how much I was making because I don't know. Well, I'll be honest. I'm just a little bit worried I might sound like a dick if I say it. It wasn't much. It was a government job. So it wasn't like a lot of money, but a lot, has different meanings to different people. Anyway. And I was at a place where I was like really like I just don't have anything to accomplish. I don't have anything to feel good about. Like I kind of like, this is it. Like I'm 27. This is the next 50 years of my life. And shortly after that, I took a job at Halliburton, which obviously I'm assuming you're all aware is the oil company. And they were like, oh, you can come here, work in the field for a couple of years, maybe get yourself a job in the office, no big deal. So I moved my wife and my dogs and sold my house, went to North Dakota, and the first day that I got there, it was minus 35 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm not sure where you're from. And I immediately called her. I went to orientation, and I was like, Mrs. Casual, I think I fucked up. Like, this sucks. And then her and I were away for 2-3 weeks at a time. I was out in the oil rig. I was working 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. I fucking hated it. And I got lucky. My friend was able to get me a job in construction. And that job was 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. with an hour commute. So I would fucking drive to work at 6 in the morning, get home at 8 at night. I'd be like, hey, again, Mrs. Casual, why don't we watch an episode of blah, blah, blah. And I'd fall asleep before it was over. And then I finally got to a job where I was working a normal week, decent money, and I could have hobbies and time and just live my life. So it took me a long time to get to a place where I was at least comfortable with what I wanted to do and spend my time on. Yeah, see, Alpha, you sound exactly like I do, at least from these chats. I don't know you, obviously. But Alpha's saying that she has health issues and it really weighs on her, and she wonders what her worth is and what she wants to do with her life. And I totally get that. And that's what I really struggle with at your age also. Of course, when I say your age, I feel like I'm still your age, but I know I'm not. And my body, if I go to catch a football, will tell me I'm not. Yeah, Tyler agrees. The intrusive thoughts are hard. And it took him a long time to accept that his value isn't just money or, well, I'm just going to say money. What's that, Jay? A movie? Jay says brutal tales of masculine employment. Are you talking shit, or is that a movie, or a show or something? Because I wasn't trying to give like my whole life story, but for the context, I just wanted to give a little bit of not context. Jesus Christ, I'm getting destroyed by Geth. You guys are killing me. I guess relatability. I think everyone has a hard time like that when they're young. I mean, maybe if you're like a trust fund kid, you can just, party and not give a fuck. And I don't know. I'm not a trust fund kid. Are you talking about my history? Well, fuck you, Jay. God damn, Tyler and Jay are on my ass. I'm going to start streaming later. You guys wake up too early. Oh, shit. I really do enjoy doing the YouTube thing. But there's sometimes that I'm like, man, if my channel ever gets big, which I don't think it will because I don't have very much charisma or anything. But there's times that I wonder if I'm going to have to sacrifice like having these kind of chats with you guys that are just fun and kind of talking shit. That's interesting. Okay, so Alpha says that she's asexual, so it gives her a hard time of feeling different. And that for movies, that Godzilla Minus One is relatable because of the PTSD. Well, first of all, Godzilla Minus One is wonderful. As far as being asexual, that's something that you're gonna have to deal with on your own. Honestly, as a Typical guy. I have no opinion there that I can relate to. Alpha says it's her fault for starting personal discussions. I don't care at all. Honestly, these streams I like, I only have usually anywhere between 2 and I would say maybe 8 people that watch. So I can just talk to you guys and we can have a good time. I don't care. Okay, so Jay says he wasn't being sarcastic. The struggle is real. All right, well, thank you, Jay. I'll take it back then. God damn it! This sniper is fucking me in the ass, and he is not asexual. God fucking bastard. Sorry, I don't usually get pissed off at video games. Thank God ISAT isn't here to call me a liar. Bitch. But yeah, I totally lost my train of thought. I was gonna try to just improv, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. So, what the fuck are we talking about? I started talking about asexuals and life. I'm fucking lost now. I'm trying to kill Geth. I'm getting overstimulated. Since we're talking about overstimulation, I took in an outdoor cat a few months ago, and if you pet him on the butt, I guess I don't know if he is like sensitive because he was an outdoor cat or what, but he'll get overstimulated and just fucking bite you. Like a total little shithead. It's weird though, because most of the time, he's a very sweet cat. Like he'll just come up and lay on you. He'll spoon me at night. I'll wake up and be like, damn, my back's hot. And he'll just be right fucking there. So Alpha says not only is Godzilla a nuclear allegory, but he also functions as an allegory for trauma and how it lingers even when you try to move on. And it's always a part of you. And I totally agree. And to me, that's what makes that movie so fucking good. Like, the fact that they captured the human element and sort of the human, I don't want to say experience, because obviously we haven't experienced fucking giant lizards. But, you know what I mean. God, oh my God. That sniper has killed me like half a dozen fucking times. But just the way that they caught that, and I love the commentary on Japanese culture. And maybe Jay, you can weigh in on this more. Where one of my favorite parts of that whole movie was when he came home and his neighbor was pissed off that he was alive. And then at the end of the movie, he gets back and she's like I couldn't believe you would even consider coming back, or like not coming back. Like you would even consider dying. I thought it was such a great moment. Alpha says that cats are jerks. They're like birds. I've never had a bird, but every time my wife mentions one, I'm like, well, I'm not gonna say the words that I used to her because YouTube won't be friendly. But I'm like, bitch, we ain't getting a bird. Like, they seem like total assholes. Jay says that my shenanigans aren't visible to you guys. All right, well, fuck you then. You guys can just watch me die and pretend it's nothing while I throw a fucking tantrum because of this sniper. It's this one sniper in the tower. If you guys are looking at my screen right now, he's at like 1 o'clock, and he is a bitch. Oh, he zoomed in on me. And he is an asshole. Like, all I do is flash out of cover, and he's like, done. Total prick. See? That line is the assassination shot in Mass Effect, which is a powered up sniper shot that does like I think 300% damage when you're maxed out. It's been a while since I read all the descriptions, but oh, there it is. Cock sucker. So Alpha knows exactly what I'm talking about with Godzilla -1. The neighbor's name was Sumiko. I'll be honest, I butcher Japanese every time. Is it Sumiko or Sumiko or Sumiko? I don't fucking know. But she says that she loved her character art and that she does have birds. They're entertaining and jerks. Yeah, that's my understanding of birds is you kind of have to put up with a lot of shit. And I'll be honest, I was never a cat man before I met my, well, at the time girlfriend, now wife. And they're just such dicks. I just can't put up with it. I'm like, fuck you. Like, I'm playing for you. Oh, the gameplay's not visible? Well, god damn it. So I was just talking to chat? Holy shit. Hold on, let me pull the stream up. I mean, I know no one cares about the gameplay, but what the fuck? That's weird. All right, well, thanks for telling me, Jay, so I can try to fix it. I just assumed you guys were like, oh, he's cussing like a retard. Can you see it now? I'm gonna keep playing and let me know if you can see it. I'm bamboozled by my lack of technology. Because normally I'm pretty good to go, at least in that regard. Oh shit. That is crazy. I cannot believe I just streamed this whole time thinking you guys were watching me get fucking railed by the Geth. And it's just me bitching. Well, I hope you can see it now because I changed settings in OBS. I got totally off the fucking rails. We were talking about all kinds of shit. Alpha, I hope you're feeling better. And, you know, at the end of the day, unfortunately, a lot of life is you kind of have to decide how you want to go forward. And I'm not going to say you should just try to think positive or any empty bullshit like that because people told me that my whole life and it did nothing. It just made me angry. Like it made me feel like they couldn't understand that I don't think I can even think positively to have a good start. So, oh my god, now the live chat is stalled. Jesus Christ. What the fuck is going? Oh, there it is. It just jumped. Okay. There we go. All right, so Jay says it's visible. Now Tyler says he sees it, and everyone's laughing at me. See, this is what happens when you're an asshole, and you just bring in big dick fans. Bunch of bastards. Maybe now that you guys are watching, I'll put on a better show. I killed the sniper, so that's good news. I got totally off the subjects. Oh, yeah, so Tyler, that's a good thing to bring up. Thank you. Tyler says that he heard that the Arcane staff was cut for season 2. I heard that on EFAP, and they showed the interviews, and I couldn't fucking believe it. Like, can you imagine a fucking business where it does well, and your solution is, okay, why don't we change everything that we did that worked the first time? Like, Arcane season 2, I'm working on my script right now, by the way. Oh my god! There you go. I hope you guys saw me get blasted in the ass. But Arcane season 2 was a classic example of trying to do way too fucking much for no reason, really. And they can say that, oh, Riot made them do 2 seasons and whatever. If they had held their ground and been like, nah, like, look, we wanted to do 2 seasons. The story has gotten way bigger than we thought. We need to take care of it. Riot would have said okay. Now, I'm sure there would have been, debates over money negotiations over money and contracts and blah, blah, blah. But that's all stuff that can be worked out. They just threw the towel in, as far as I'm concerned. So Alpha says she's doing better. Well, that's good to hear. And I agree with you, Alpha. Alpha says that being told to think positive didn't help her either. And accepting both kinds of thoughts is a way better way to go, because you don't have to deal with toxic positivity. And yes, that's something that's really hard, I think, for the kind of optimistic crowd to understand is, I don't want to get into fucking science. I mean, Jesus Christ. I'm not qualified to, but also just, I don't think I should here. I don't think it would be appropriate. But when I was dealing with my stuff, I mean, I'm still dealing with it because it never goes away. I actually have a tattoo on my back of Sisyphus, but instead of a boulder, he's carrying a brain, because I've just been dealing with my depression for so long. And there's an element of, you have to accept that this is how you feel, and you should also try to understand it and, kind of objectively realize that, like, okay, it's not the end of the world. Like, yes, I feel horrible right now, but I understand that this is a phase. I understand I'm going through a hard time. I will get over it. And I think there's a lot of value in that. God damn this Geth. Okay, so Tyler says, even if they were constrained to 2 seasons, they chose to have the plot go the direction it went in. I completely agree. And they could have easily just had the plot be about Zone and Piltover. 100% agree, Tyler. And that's why I said what I think happened is that they had an idea and they're like, okay, we'll tell this story and this story and this story for these characters. And then all of those branched off and they were like, oh fuck, we need like 4 seasons for this. And I don't know if you guys have ever had this happen where you're like, I need to write a 1,000-word essay for school or something, and then you are trying to force yourself to 1,000, but then you're like, oh, well, I should be more detailed here and here and here, and then suddenly you end up at like 3,000. I think that's what happened to Arcane, and that's how it felt to me. Is that they were like, oh, we have these characters that we want to cover, but then they just kept branching off and getting their tendrils and everything, and they went way too expansive, way too fast. Jay says, sorry, but I chuckled when hearing things about Arcane Season 2. You can't have nice things. What's funny, Jay, is I actually don't think the creators had malintent. I think they just got a little bit too big for their britches. And Tyler, I'm gonna disagree with you here. Tyler says, my philosophy is that your feelings are always valid. You can also objectively look at the logic behind those feelings. And the reason I would say they're not always valid is because, and sorry, that's the part I'm disagreeing with, if that wasn't obvious. I think your feelings are something you got. I'm going to sound like fucking Ben Stiller in Dodgeball. Like, no one makes me bleed my own blood. But your feelings are something you always feel. But I think sometimes you can step back and say, okay, like my feelings are being unreasonable right now, or I'm irrational right now. Like, well, I guess I'll just go straight back to sexism. Fuck it. If you've ever dealt with like a woman who's pregnant or on her cycle or whatever, I think there's a lot of value in being like, okay, like you understand that you're being irrational, even though you're feeling what you're feeling. And I get it. Like God damn it. Like, I get that you're hormonal or whatever the case may be, but that doesn't make you right. And it doesn't mean I had to accept it. Like, I should be able to tell you, like, that's enough. And my wife and I have had this conversation many times when I feel like she's just got some stuff going on. I'm like, I'm not going to deal with that. So you need to be the one to be accountable and be like, okay, like I understand that I am being out of control. And that's fine. Like, it happens, for me, there's times that I get like viscerally angry and I know I shouldn't because I'm stressed out about a bunch of shit and I get pissed off and I just want something to take it out on. And it's not really fair to anybody, right? Like, not that guys don't have it, but I think for, women, it's a little bit different. Just because I think hormones are such a huge variable there in a way that they aren't for men. Alpha says that Arcane Season 2 reminds her of what they did with Jurassic World Dominion. It just doesn't work. Is that the one that was Jurassic World Dominion the third one in the second trilogy? Because I never even saw that one and it made $1 billion fucking dollars. Because I was like, oh, that looks like an absolute nightmare. Because Jurassic World Dominion, from what I heard, was the one where they're like chasing bugs or something, and I got sniped again. Oh my god. This stream's never gonna end if I can't beat this fucking level. But Tyler says that I was making his point, but in different words. Okay. Okay, well, then he says, "Feel your feelings, but understand what caused it and why." And then you need to be introspective. Okay, so Tyler and I are on the same page. He's better with words than I am, probably, which is weird since I'm the one fucking streaming because I'm a, you know, kind of white trash. Which no big deal. I don't. It's something I've always been, but it does make it hard to operate. Oh my god. I mean, is this level just raining fucking snipers? This is like Halo 2. Okay, so Alpha says Dominion was the third act of Jurassic World and went so many places in every scene, it was overwhelming. And she saw it once and never again. Yeah, that's what I thought. I heard it was like really fucking bad. And I'll be honest, I'm not surprised because the first two were kind of a mess. Like from what I remember, I don't remember much from the I was gonna say Chris Pine. It's oh my god, I'm blanking on his name. Chris Pratt. It's the Chris Pratt ones that I'm like, I don't understand what you guys are trying to do here. Like, you're trying to make the Velociraptors dogs, and like, why? Like, part of their value is that they were scary as shit because they were smart, and you know, like creepy and whatever. Yeah, Tyler agrees that the new Jurassic World movies are really bad. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like, is the the idea of taming them undermines their whole value. Do you guys remember in the Jurassic I think it was 2 movie where Jeff Goldblum's daughter is like, "Oh, I'm trying to be a gymnast on the bars." And the way that they end the fucking movie is that she does like a swing on the bars and kicks the raptor in the side. That's like one of the craziest 90s things I've ever fucking seen. And it's so cringy. Those movies were bad. Oh my god, Tyler, you completely caught the moment I was talking about too. I think what you're talking about is in it's number 5, right? Tyler says I audibly laughed when the military guy was like, "Think of the war uses." Oh my god, what a dog shit movie. Exactly, Alpha. Thank you. Alpha says the Jurassic World trilogy makes Jurassic Park 3 look good. At least the Raptors were smart in that one. And it was terrifying. That's exactly what I was just saying. And Jay says the Jurassic World movies made Lost World and JP3 look decent. So I guess everyone is just like, oh, yeah, they're all dog shit after Jurassic Park 3. That's funny. I did not realize that everyone was like salty about it because they make so much fucking money. I thought it was just me. Like me and the, you know, I don't want to say, well, I don't want to lump myself in with fucking Mauler and Drinker and those guys. They're like actually, established critics, but you know what I mean. Like the people who view stuff a little bit more critically. That's so funny that you guys are all just shitting all over it. Oh, Alpha says she's a sucker for Lost World. Is Lost World 2 or 3? I'm sorry, I'm getting sniped again, so I can't look it up myself. I think Lost World is 2, if I remember right. But yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, like the first 3 Jurassic Park movies for me are like fine. Like I get why they made them. I can accept them. Okay, so yeah, Alpha did confirm it's the second one. I get it. You know, I get why they were made. They made a bunch of money. But man, when you go back and you just watch, like you go back and watch Jurassic Park 2 and I will say Jurassic Park 2 oh my god. Jay's chiming in and says, think of the military applications for Raptors dialogue straight out of the OCP boardroom in RoboCop. That's crazy. What I was going to say, though, is to defend Jurassic Park 2 somewhat, not a ton, is one of the best scenes, I think, in any of the Jurassic Park movies is Jurassic Park 2 when they are running through the cornfield and you can just see the raptor tails. That is fucking awesome. And like it's creepy, it's scary. You understand why they're hunting. Okay, so Alpha says Jurassic Park 2 actually had basis in the novel also. That's interesting. I didn't know that. Because I bought the audiobook for Jurassic Park, but I still haven't listened to it because I was listening to the Heir to the Empire trilogy. But yeah, I've heard that the Michael Crichton novels are really fucking good, so I'm looking forward to it. Actually, fucking Jay going hard. He says that the T-Rex chasing Asian men down the street negates the cornfield scene. I think I know the exact prank video that you're talking about, and that shit is hilarious. Man, Jay, you live in Japan. Have you ever seen those Japanese prank shows live? Because the shit that I've seen online is like crazy. Like where they have people in porta pots and they fucking lift them up and stuff. They just go wild, which I respect, obviously. Finally got past this fucking part. Well, this stream has gone totally off the rails. Alpha, I hope you're doing okay. I don't feel like my being subscribed to my channel is going to help you, but if it does, that's great. Because I'll be honest, when I made my channel, my assumption that was that no one would watch or listen. So, you know, the fact that any of you guys do is awesome, and that we can have these hangouts on a Sunday, and just chill and talk about movies and whatever is something I really enjoy. And the fact that some people pay me is even more like beyond my belief. I mean, I kind of joked about it in my last stream where I got my first check from YouTube. It was $100, but when you expect $0, $100's a lot. So it's good to have you all here. Alpha says that Godzilla reference in JP2 San Diego T-Rex scene too. I left Japan to get away from this. I do not remember that scene at all. I would have to rewatch it for sure. And then Jay says, no, assuming it's all in a controlled environment, Japan is peace and quiet. Well, good for you, Jay. And Tyler wants to do a D&D group with you guys. If you guys want to do a D&D group, fucking go for it. I put the Discord in every video now. I have it copy pasted. Since I'm a boomer, I did not realize that you could set an infinite link. So I did that. And yeah, if you guys want to meet up and play D&D, that'd be fucking awesome. I'd be super happy if people were meeting each other because they watch my shitty ass videos. And Alpha says that just being here and being able to talk about it's really helpful. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I mean, I wouldn't call myself Dr. Filthy, but I'm an adult at least, and I feel like a normal person. And I feel like there's also, I think it was Tyler earlier that said that he loved therapy, which I'm glad. And I've also said I didn't like it, so it didn't work for me. But if hanging out here can help you and just chatting to people, I think that's good. I mean, I think the word therapy has been kind of corrupted. Tyler, that's a good one. Tyler called me Dr. Filthy, but he spelled it obviously like Dr. Phil. If I could pin in chat, I'd fucking do it. But obviously if hanging out here and just talking to people and feeling normal can help people, I'm glad. I got you. Alpha says that she has a Discord also, but is hardly there and doesn't play D&D. She's more into Pokemon. Alpha, you said you're 27. So when you were born, there was probably like 150 Pokemon. How many do you keep up with? Because as someone who, I remember the original 151, and I was like fucking jacked. Because I was like, Pikachu and Mew and Mewtwo and all that shit were awesome. How many do you keep up with before you just say, there's too many? I'm always curious about that because every time that I hear about Pokemon, they're doing like another, however many hundred. Yeah, exactly. So Tyler said Pokemon came out when we were 6. So how much do you keep up with? Or do you just give up at some point? Because for me, like the original 150 were awesome. And then everything after that, I was like, get fucked. Like that's not the real Pokemon. Like I remember seeing Pokemon, I think it was called Pokemon 2000 was the first one. If I'm remembering right, it's been a long fucking time. Oh my god, here comes Jay in being the fucking boomer. Jay says Pokemon, I knew anime was over. Come on, Jay. You know that's not fair. You know that's not fair, Jay. Okay, so Alpha says that she was in a Pokemania in the 90s, but due to the religion at the time, she wasn't allowed to like it. Huh. And then she had to throw it away. And then she just got back into it in 2019. That's crazy. I did not know people like that actually existed. Like, I remember there being like a news story about Pokemon being demonic and blah, blah, blah. And, kind of like the Harry Potter thing where they're like, oh, it's witchcraft. So you can't let your kids read it. But then everyone kind of just got over it. I did not realize that was a real thing, Alpha. That's crazy. Okay, so Tyler says the first Pokemon movie was called Pokemon, the first movie. Are you sure? What was Pokemon 2000 then? Was that the one with Lugia? which would be the second one, I guess. Mewtwo Strikes Back. Okay, I got you. Okay. So I fucked up the names then. That's funny. I remember when I think I was 9 or 10 when that movie came out. And I remember a guy playing on the basketball team. He was this fat black kid named Sean. And he was like, man, I cried so hard when Ash died. And I remember being like, yeah, man, like that shit was a bummer. And now I just feel like I want to cry because I wish I could go back to that age. And then, you know what's funny is my second Pokemon movie experience, which I think is the one with Lugia. I'm not sure if it's Lugia or Lugia. I don't know. I remember my mom being like, that's the last movie we're going to in the theater. Like, she was super annoyed. Because obviously, if you're a parent, I'm sure that shit is cringe. Alpha says, I prefer the original 151, but love the newer ones like Garchomp, Flygon, and so forth. I was raised in a Jehovah's Witness cult, and the demonization of Pokemon was real. That's fucking crazy. I mean, I don't know how much you want to expand on that, Alpha. You don't have to, obviously. But is there a reason for that? Like what would be the logic behind not wanting kids to like Pokemon? I guess I just don't understand. I mean, I also didn't grow up in a cult, so you know, maybe the cult mentality is not something I should get, but that is fucking wild. Okay, so yeah, Alpha confirmed for me. Pokemon 2000 is the second one. I did pronounce Lugia correct. Okay. I'm on fire. Yeah, I fucking love the Pokemon movies. They all kind of have the same format where it's like, for some reason, we have this one off story where the world is about to end. And then, again, for some fucking reason we don't know, a 10-year-old boy is the savior. Why? Don't know. But, you know, the fact that he has Pikachu is all that matters. But anyone who loves Pokemon and didn't fucking at least get glassy eyed when the Charizards and Pikachus and stuff were smacking each other, you ain't a real fan. I'll just say that. Oh, look at Tyler with the big day. All right, so Alpha says that Pokemon was viewed as demonic because of the psychic type Pokemon and the references to Japanese views on death and spirits in red and blue. Huh. That's interesting. And Tyler says he's going to the gym in the casino. Well, look at the big brain on Tyler. Bastard. So Alpha's only seen the first Pokemon movie on VHS. Nice. I think I had that too. I used to love starting with Charmander. Oh, here we go. Jay says 80s anime picks incoming for FC, which is me. Brace yourselves. Jay, you still have time to change your pick. I haven't watched your movie yet, so there's a couple weeks left in the month if you want to change your December pick. I have it in the Discord chat, so I don't remember it, but I do have it noted. Oh, thanks, Tyler. Tyler says, great stream as always. Arcane became terrible. Rings of Power sucks. And Deadwood's awesome. That's a good way to leave. I respect that. And also, I agree, I think, with all three of those. So nice. Alpha says the Japanese original of the first movie was better because Mewtwo's character was more of an anti-hero rather than a straight-up villain. Oh, really? Is there like a translation thing? Or is there... Or did they actually change the script? Because I've never heard anything about that. And I don't actually remember... What was Mewtwo's arc in Pokemon? It was that he was tortured by humans and then wanted Pokemon to rule, right? Like he was just kind of a simple, we should be in charge type villain, as far as I remember. And we're going deep into some weird shit today. I love it. And see, this is why I like, in some sense, having a small channel. Because we can just talk about whatever we want. Okay, I got you, Jay. Jay says, going with my December one. Edgy Gen X anime incoming 2025. You know what, Jay? I'm a little bit embarrassed because I like anime. And I've watched quite a bit now and read a lot of light novels and manga. But I haven't seen the classics. Like Akira and like Evangelion and like Yu Yu Hakusho. Hakusho? I'm sure you know what I'm fucking trying to say. Like there's a bunch of stuff that I missed out on because I just didn't get into anime until I was a little bit older. Which is, it's my fault. Well, sort of. Man, this Kraven's trying to fuck me up. God damn it. Oh, okay. So Alpha says that the American release changed it because the reflections of death and life in Japanese original. Mewtwo questioned his existence and purpose, but this was viewed as too deep for kids in the West. That's really interesting. And something that makes me really annoyed, and I don't know, Alpha, how much of my stuff you watch or anything like that, but it really pisses me off when people treat kids like retards. Like, I think kids should be given the same quality of thought as adults. Like, maybe you don't want to touch on the specifics of having, like the dynamics of a married relationship or sex or, whatever the case is for kids. But I think kids can handle interesting concepts presented in a like good format for them. So it really frustrates me that people just shit all over kids and then treat them like they're fucking idiots. And then Jay says it was before my time. Okay, Jay. Hey, whatever you want me to watch, just let me know, all right? Because I'm definitely down to watch some old school anime. I love seeing the old stuff that's good. And you've given me a lot of good recommendations. So I've actually appreciated all of them. The last one you gave me with Charles Bronson was great. I thought it was so interesting to have a guy who just wanted to live his life become this vigilante because he felt like no one was doing anything. And the reason I think that message is so good is because it resonates with everyone. So I thought that was a really good pick. The only ones that I didn't like, and it wasn't necessarily a you issue as much as me, was the gross one with the guy with the glasses. I'm blanking on the fucking name now. Alpha says that she hates when children are treated as too weak to be able to process certain topics. I agree. Well, fuck you, Mr. Divine. Mr. Divine hasn't been here all day. Comes in saying before his time, Filthy's been around since the first computer. While technically true, also go fuck yourself. Oh, Jay, thank you. Reanimator, yeah. You know, I didn't hate it. It just wasn't for me. That's all. Like, I wasn't mad that you recommended it or anything. It's just, I was just like, huh. That's a bit weird. But to be fair, horror in general, I'm like an amateur at. So maybe I'm just fucking retarded. Because all the reviews that I read fucking loved it. Also, these Geth and Krogan are just butt fucking me. I mean, I don't know if you guys are allowed to see like sodomy on stream, but here we are. Oh, okay. Oh, Mr. Divine's in Pacific time. Okay. Well, if you're in Pacific time, I definitely don't blame you because I started at like, I think 8:50. Let's see. I've been going for hour 26 is 10:19. Sorry, hour 27 is 10:19. So 8:52, 8:53? No, I don't care anyway. I'll be honest. I told my Mrs. Casual, I was like, I don't think anyone's going to be here because I'm streaming too early. And normally I don't want to do this. Oh my God. I'm getting sniped in the face every time I fucking talk. Normally I don't want to go this early. But, you know, I'll be honest. I'm just not feeling like exercising today. So my typical Sunday morning, if things are going well, is I wake up, drink some water, go run, shower, maybe eat breakfast, and then I'll stream. So it pushes it to like 10, 11, 12, depending. But today I woke up at like 6, because I guess because of my new work schedule. And then I was just like, well, I can't sleep. And I don't really feel like exercising. So I guess I'll just stream early. It is what it is, I guess. How are you doing, Mr. Divine? I was trying to think of who it was that was shitting on me for my penguin take. I think it was Jake and Hagar, though. I don't think it was you, Mr. Divine. And I actually haven't seen Jaken recently. Maybe he's still mad at me for my penguin take. I don't know. Oh, Alpha says, technically not exactly an anime, but an early Japanese animated movie is Barefoot Gen. It follows a true account of a Japanese survivor of the atomic bomb in Hiroshima. So it's an anime, or not, it's not an anime, but it's an animated version of a Hiroshima survivor. That is kind of dark and kind of depressing. All right, I'm gonna have to focus here for a second because this Krogan is just pushing my lunch in. But that does sound really interesting. Alpha. Oh, okay. So Jay knew exactly what you're talking about. Well, he lives there, so maybe he's obligated. I'm glad when my biotic fucking move doesn't work on the Krogan. You fucking piece of shit game. Well, I'm oh my God, I'm sounding like a fucking retard. I'm glad you're doing well, Mr. Divine. Yeah, Mr. Divine says he can relate about not wanting to go run. Okay, so Alpha says it's very dark and graphic, but gives an accurate account of what it was like going through that. Yeah, that sounds really interesting. I'm not sure if I'm going to go watch it because for me, stuff like that, I had to be in a certain mood for. I just don't like to go watch like really serious stuff unless I have to because, it's just kind of depressing. That's kind of why I stick to a lot of like rom-coms and, a little bit more lighthearted if I can. Although I'm also not a huge fan of like the total isekai. Let's all go jack off and have our harem and stuff. Not really my thing either. I like the just guy who's given potential and makes the most of it. If that makes sense. I don't know if that sounds like losery or nerdy or whatever, but this game is fucking me in the ass right now. Jay says if he's too vocal about not liking Neon Genesis Evangelion, his visa gets revoked. I'll be honest, the only thing I know about Evangelion is the theme song because it's like so classic that you have to hear it. Okay, so Alpha says that she likes dark and depressing anime, Death Note, Wolf's Rain, etc. Wolf's Rain I've actually not heard of. Alpha, have you watched like Violet Evergarden or Your Lie in April? Those are a little bit more drama than like uh like directly dark. But I'm just curious like, if you have an opinion on those or if you've watched those or if that's not your thing. Because for me, like I like a pretty wide range of stuff, honestly. But I have to be in like a certain mood if I'm going to watch like a serious drama or you know, if I'm going to go that route, I need to be prepared. Like Istad made me watch Plastic Memory, and I knew going into that it was going to be some serious shit. But obviously that's not for everybody. I mean, the biggest selling, oh my god, the biggest selling stuff is stuff like harem shit and all that type of deal, where it's kind of self insert ish. Not really my thing, but sometimes I still enjoy it, even if I'm not doing like the self insert thing. Sometimes I still enjoy the power trip kind of anime, right? Like Solo Leveling, I really fucking like, even though it's a total self insert. Like, I get why people would fucking hate it, whatever. Okay, so Alpha says that she hasn't seen the ones I mentioned. She prefers to watch anime on YouTube. Oh, I see. Because your family wouldn't like the anime you watch. You watch it on your own. Well, I don't know what your family is like. Obviously, you don't have to, like, we're not going to get into that here. But if you're looking for, like, family friendly anime, I would highly recommend Spy Family. I would probably recommend Fruits Basket. That's a very good one where the main protagonist is a chick who, I don't want to say she conquers everything by love, but kind of. Um, Violet Evergarden is very character driven, and I think your family would probably enjoy that one too. There's one episode in particular that I'll be honest, I cried like a bitch, and so did my wife, and so did my grandmother. So there's plenty. Oh, Erased, if they're into like a psychological thriller. If you're wanting to test out like a movie, A Silent Voice and Your Name are both really good, and I would say mostly. Well, I would say family friendly. A Silent Voice has some bullying, but not not anything graphic. It's just kind of is what it is. Because kids are dicks. So Alpha says that she wants to see Spirited Away, but it's not available for free. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you want to branch out on the internet a bit, I'm sure you can find it for free. But I don't have any specific sites to recommend you. Maybe Flickstore, but that one's always busy because it's a really good site. So Alpha says Fruits Basket she's heard of but never seen. But she enjoyed Tokyo Mew Mew and rewatches it from time to time. I've actually never heard of that one. Although the name is funny. Well, I don't know how strict your family is because you said they were pretty hardcore. But A Silent Voice, I think, is on Netflix. And Your Name was also for a bit. And if they're not on Netflix, you can definitely find them relatively easily if you're looking. I'll leave that to you. But both of those I would definitely recommend. But I've been going for a couple hours now. I think I'm going to call it. I want to go finish Sweet Home Season 3, which is actually based on a webtoon. It's a Korean show. If you guys haven't watched it and you're into like kind of supernatural horror, type thing, I would recommend it. The first season's really good. The second season's okay. The third season, I'm hoping gets back to following the webtoon and kind of finishes strong. And it's funny because the main guy in Sweet Home is made to be like the dorky, kind of uncomfortable, introvert, awkward kid. And every other show that I've seen him in, he's like pretty as fuck. And he's like the main romance and the guy stealing your girl type thing. But anyway. Oh, so Alpha says Your Name was recommended to her, but she needs to go watch it. Yeah, I would definitely recommend it. I think it's a movie that 99% of people would enjoy. There's nothing crazy dark or sexual or anything like that. Mr. Divine says, go run. Well, fuck you. I'm going to go watch Sweet Home, and you can kiss my ass. All right, Jay. Jay, give me a shout in Discord if you need something, all right? And Jay's been giving me the insight into living in Japan. It sounds really fascinating and not too different from anime, but kind of. I don't know. He said there's a lot less delivery girls that want to be in hentai. I'm just fucking with you, Jay. I was just making shit up. Alpha says that she's sorry for clogging the chat. Don't worry about it. Alpha, this happens every time. A couple months ago, I got into a big argument. I think it was with was it you, Mr. Divine, or was it Jake and Hagar, who was defending George R.R. Martin for not finishing his books, and I was calling him a piece of shit. I can't remember, but don't worry about it. We always get derailed onto a topic, and then it just goes where it goes. I don't care. I put shit in the title just so I have kind of a starting point. But I'm not worried about what happens in the stream. I mean, you can see I died a million fucking times in my game. Obviously, I don't care about that. I fucking talked about Kraven and Lord of the Rings for about 10 minutes out of 2 hours. Who gives a shit? As long as you guys are talking and having a good time, I really don't care. Okay, so sorry, Mr. Divine. I threw Mr. Divine under the bus. It wasn't you. Someone else was, though. I'd have to go back through my streams. But I still stand by my point that George R. R. Martin is an absolute old, fat sack of dog shit lying to all of his customers. So he can suck my balls. Not the chatter, but George R. R. Martin can. To me, the chatter is just a guy that, he's falling for a pyramid scheme. Because George R. R. Martin's never going to finish. And if you're a fucking author, I think that you have that duty. If you write a book in 1 year and then 6 months later have a heart attack is one thing. If you write a book in 2007 and it's 2024, well, go fuck yourself. Mr. Divine says, sounds like you can relate. Thanks, buddy. Hey, if I make the money that he does on my book, I promise I will fucking crank them out. But, I keep saying it's my goal to finish next week. My actual goal is to finish next Friday. And then have my wife read through it with me out loud. And then go through the process of maybe trying to find a publisher. Probably just formatting it so I can self-publish and then getting it out there. Because it's also preventing me from writing my next thing. And then I'm also busy with scripts for YouTube. Because I have a script right now going for Arcane Season 2. I have one going for Free Aaron. I want to do one for another content creator, which I'm not going to talk about because that'll be forever down the road. But, it's tough when you're having a regular job. I get up at fucking 6:30 in the morning and I get home at 6 at night. And then, at the same time, I'm trying to cover Dune, Skeleton Crew, the weekly shit. And then if a movie comes out like Sonic or Sonic 3 or whatever the fuck, War of the Rohirrim, then I've got that shit going on. So it's just busy, And then I try to spend time with my wife and walk my dogs. And I don't want to be obsessed with this because I don't think I'm ever going to make a living on it. I mean, as awesome as it would be to just talk about movies and talk to you guys and play a game, I had to be realistic. And I don't think it's ever going to happen for me because I don't think I'm particularly charismatic. I wouldn't call myself super insightful. I try to be, but, I'm limited. It is what it is. Anyway, I hope you guys have a good rest of your weekend. I'm going to go. I don't know if I'll play Mass Effect or, watch Sweet Home. I'm trying to talk my wife into it. She liked the first 2 seasons and the dude's good looking, so we'll see. Hellbound Season 2 looked really good also. I want to watch that show called The Frog. There's so much shit that I need to watch. I just don't have the time. Yeah, Alpha says family and work definitely has to come first. And yeah, it kind of is what it is. Well, and on top of that, I like to read, as surprising as that may be. One of my hobbies is I like to read a lot of light novels and manga. And I'm trying to squeeze that in too. Like I read a lot of chapters at work, and then I'll read some while I'm driving and sitting in rush hour. It's just a packed schedule. Yeah, Mr. Divine says I'm almost to 1K. If I keep pumping stuff out, I should get there. I on one hand, I know what you're saying. On the other, I mean, I've made at this point, what, 300 videos? 350? It's really hard to imagine that I ever get to the point where I could just do this and nothing else. I mean, so far on YouTube, in let's see, almost exactly 3 years. I started in 2021. My first video was the Matrix, was it Resurrections? The absolute dog shit one was January of 2021 or Christmas of 2021. And the Batman, and I've made $100. So can't exactly pay the mortgage with that. With $2 a month or whatever that works out to. But I appreciate the sentiment. And if that was my goal, I think the best way for that to happen would probably be for bigger channels to invite me on. It doesn't happen. So they're obviously not interested, which is fine. I mean, I can't be offended. I can't control that. I don't care. But, I like to live stream with other people. Like I've talked to Mayo and Shamrock and Istad, and we all hang out. But we're all of similar size. Mr. Divine says you could have gotten new games to that dough, you prick. Yeah, I should have gotten Concord, which got taken offline in fucking 1 week. Oh my god. You know what's funny is Kaiju comments on almost every video. He goes, "Did they put a chick in it and make it lame and gay?" And his comment is always hidden because YouTube, I guess, is hiding it because he says the word gay. Oh my god. All right. Well, I'm going to go eat breakfast. I hope you guys have a good weekend. Or Jay, have a good night. I'm not sure what time it is there. Probably 9 o'clock or some shit. Alpha, I hope you're feeling better. Feel free to join the Discord and you can chat to whoever. As far as I know, no one there is a therapist or a psychiatrist, so don't take their word as gospel. But if you want to come see some memes and chat, feel free to do so. Mr. Divine, suck it. All right, have a good weekend, guys. I'll see you later. Oh, shit.